who I am right now is just a broken shell with a determined heart and with the courage to persevere and with the mind to succeed. Sure, there have been many roadblocks because obviously we know that the process is not linear. There's eventually going to be those ups and downs. To get out of this suffocation, you need a good friend. You need a good listener. Whether it's a good friend or not, you just need a good listener to at least listen to what you're going through. Listen to what your struggle is, to what your pain is. And this positive aspiration, anybody can use it. It is so empowering and it is so important to use. I don't care what you are, who you are, what you're going through, but you have to use this because this is something that has no repercussions. And this is the most important quote that I live in. And that is,
Welcome to Present Potential. I'm your host, Hassan, and the reason I launched this podcast is to create a ripple effect of optimism that reaches 1 billion people in the next decade. Ambitious? Very. Scary? A little bit. The aim of Present Potential is to empower listeners by sharing stories of individuals who've turned challenges into opportunities, proving that we all have untapped potential. If you're new to this podcast, welcome. If you've tuned in before, thank you for your support, and I hope you find value in these conversations. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening from wherever you're tuning in. Thank you for joining. This is Hassan, your host of Present Potential. And I'm so grateful and thankful for everyone for tuning in and joining us weekly to listen to our guests and also insights that we share during this podcast. In today's episode, I am privileged to welcome an inspiring mind, someone that I've connected with over LinkedIn who has a unique ability to be a voice, quite literally. So today I'm going to be speaking with Habib. Habib is able to imitate any voices. He produces voices. He can produce videos. He's a person who's able to generate a lot of different content and graphic design. And as usual, I might have not introduced him well enough. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Habib. Welcome to the podcast.
good greetings, everyone. Okay, so Hassan, first off, thank you so much for the wonderful introduction. I am so honored and I'm so privileged to be here. So it's amazing to be here with you because we actually had scheduled this meeting back in November, and to be actually here in the month of February, it's just, oh my goodness, like this commitment was super awesome. Like the way as it was getting closer and closer to the date, I was getting more and more excited like, when is this ever going to happen? But now it is, and now we're here. So, yeah, good greetings, everyone. I'm Habib, and I am working as a voiceover artist, as a video presenter. Well, I was previously working as such. Right now, I'm currently doing my internship as a cohort facilitator for the teachers from low cost schools here in Pakistan. I'm from Pakistan, by the way. And I also offer my services as an emotional service provider, which means anyone can share anything they want, whenever they want to, and however much they're comfortable with.
Wow, that's amazing. That's definitely a better introduction than what I did. And it's a pleasure and a privilege to have you on Present Potential. And like you said, yeah, it's been months in the making. And thank you for being patient as we had other guests as well until we had our episode. So usually what we do is we begin by just asking the guests, who is Habib?
That is an amazing question because even I don't know who I am right now, but I'm just an average guy who's doing his not so very best every single day just to survive and just to help others survive. And that's what I'm currently doing, and that's what my role is. So I'm just there to fill in the blanks, for everybody. Right now, I am just, in the process of figuring things out as we go. And yeah, things are a bit of a in a like a blur for me right now because I still have not figured out what I really want to do, what I really want to accomplish in life. Everything is like a work in process for me. So, like, I'm not hating it, thankfully. I used to be in the place where I was hating it, but thankfully, I'm not that person anymore where I don't want to live in a life that is full of regrets and failures. I am currently living the life that is full of endless possibilities. And, there's limited opportunities, so we speak, which is kind of the harsh reality, but it is the reality where I want to persevere and put in as much effort as my body or my mind can allow me to. So, who I am right now is just a broken shell with a determined heart and with the courage to persevere and with the mind to succeed. So I guess I'm sorry for being so much out of words, but that was my
Mm,
best attempt to being so articulate for
That,
that.
that was amazing. That was so courageous and vulnerable, and I thank you for being yourself and also sharing that. Sometimes we are in a blur. Sometimes we are just experiencing things as they are. And I loved what you shared about like having the possibilities and the openness of what there is, because sometimes being in a blur is actually a good thing, because you're not restricted by one thing or two things, but rather having that ability to see more than what is available. So I really thank you for sharing that. And maybe even like starting from school, or like from a younger age, what did you aspire to be when you grew up? What did you want to study and to go into?
Well, I really don't know much because back then I was just daydreaming all the time. Like, I want to be this, I want to be that. For me, I was the kind of person where I literally had no direction in life, where because my younger brother knew he wanted to get into computers and he's a software engineer now. My sister was being into, becoming a doctor or becoming like a fashion designer, and she's a fashion designer now. Me, I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I still don't know what I want to do. So I was always like, maybe I want to be a scientist, or maybe I can study insects, or I was like, the money's good for a pharmacist, so maybe I can go there. But then things started to get more and more, as I started to grow more aware of the challenges that I would have to be facing and the limitations that I would be forced to, struggle with. Then I started to realize that there's very little things that I'm actually interested in, and there's a lot of things that I'm not interested in. So I still don't know what I really want to do. Like, I enjoy doing voiceovers. I enjoy making videos for any company that wants my service as a video presenter. And I absolutely love the role that I play as an emotional support provider. But um, for me, since my early days in school and in college, I honestly did not know, I still don't know or can remember what I really wanted to become.
Yeah.
There were just so many, there's that element of pressure that was there where everybody would want to expect, like, oh, this kid's brilliant, he's smart, which I actually wasn't. But they just had that expectation that, oh, he's going to become this, he's going to become a doctor, he's going to go become a scientist or join the military, all these expectations that people had, but I had no expectation from me. Everything was scary for me. It still is because I'm always so scared to come out of that zone where I have become so accustomed to. It's not actually my comfort zone, it's just my safe zone, you can say. So back then it was very difficult. Right now, as I'm an adult, it's more of a responsibility for me to go out of that safe zone, but I just do it in a way that is more, that is more uh, endurable for me because I don't want to do something that breaks me. I want to do something that makes me enjoy life. So um, I will tell you this, that right now I know what my dream is, and that is for, committing my life to animal welfare, to animal rescue services. So that's what my dream and my end goal is. But since those school days, I still don't know what I really wanted to become. I was just there as like a surviving person, you can say.
Mm,
So I was just there to be there. But now I'm here to, to just know what I need to do. So
yeah,
everything's a process, like I said.
absolutely. And I remember when I was in school, I didn't know what I wanted to be. And even these days, like we could be anything. And I remember like also the expectations of society and like what you shared that becoming a doctor, this guy is smart and he's gonna become something, and you're really trying to live up to those expectations. And what I did was I just followed what the crowd was doing, and I did well, but I still didn't feel fulfilled. And I completely understand exactly what you're saying, that you're not sure what you want to do. And that's also great because you're starting from somewhere. You're literally seeing what is, and then deciding what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And that's so powerful because there's no right or wrong based on your own perceptions. You see the world based on your views. But I'll stop talking now because I want to hear more of your story. So, what what got you interested into like the, maybe eventually you said your dream or like the end goal would be to work with animals and animal welfare. Like, what inspires you to work with that?
Well, my parents, because my parents have always been in a way to always just helping out the voiceless creatures, and they are the ones who are responsible for having me get, you know, have this dream in me. This was back in 2019. I was in the process of, helping out animals, and that year was the year where I started to, do big with that purpose in mind, where I eventually had that purpose in mind in that year. And before that, I was just fighting to know that what is my reason to be here in this world? What is my purpose? Like, I know my brother's into software engineering. I know my sister's into fashion designing. I know my cousins into this. My friends are into that. But what is it that I need to do? What is it that I should be doing? So eventually, when I started to take action into helping out the animals, just, doing whatever I can for them, whether it was just giving them food or just, helping them from tall trees. So I started to, this passion in me started to grow more and more as I helped them more and more, and it culminated into this strong purpose in mind and in my heart that this is what I need to do. It's something that I don't need to think too much. It's just something that I have to do. So that's my whole, you know my motivator to life. Like, there's
Yeah.
nothing else that attracts me, there's nothing else in life that really encourages me to get out of bed, just get ready and start my day. It's the only thing that helps me to be alive and to look forward to the other day. And it's like this purpose, this realization to this purpose has helped me through a lot of difficult patches. And sure, there have been many roadblocks because obviously we know that the process is not linear. There's eventually going to be those ups and downs, but this has been something that has been very beneficial for me to overcome those roadblocks.
Yeah.
So that's how this little passion turned into a big purpose for me.
Mm. Thanks for sharing. And what happened in 2019, if you don't mind us asking, like that really helped you to understand that this is the passion and the drive and eventually the purpose that you want to follow.
Well, thank you so much for asking, Hassan. What happened was that in 2019, we like before we moved into this house, we used to live in an apartment there. It was a rented apartment, and we had a lot of stray cats outside our apartment building where we would be feeding them outside in the parks. So I started to do that in a bigger, scale where lots of cats would be coming outside our apartment building, and some of the neighbors did not like that. So I didn't know, like, I could not abandon them. I could not abandon an animal. So I just didn't know what to do. I didn't know what the solution would be, because some people, like over here, think that the solution would be abandoning the animal that's being the troublemaker for them, or, just to stop giving them food. So I didn't want to do either of them. So what I did was that I went on Facebook and I started to search these Facebook groups that are dedicated to animal rescue and animal help support. And that is where things started to become more and more clear to me. Like, this is something that I have to do. And it just wasn't a desire, it was a need at that point. And that need is what exists still within me. It's always going to be within me, that I need to do this because this is the least that I can do. Like, if it's giving food or just a piece of food to an animal that's hungry, it's the least that I can do. It's not something that I'm doing it out of some sort of, out of some sort of expectation. I'm not expecting anything in return, and animals don't expect anything from you. They just want that love, they just want that kindness, and they give that back to you whether you ask it or not. So they are unconditional creatures asking for unconditional things. And that's the need that helps me to survive, and that's the need that helps me to grow every day.
And like finding these groups on Facebook and starting something and really connecting to those animals looking for just unconditional love. Like, how did the journey progress? Where did you reach with the animal groups, or like the groups on Facebook, or what you're doing also, like your activities to help those animals? Where did that lead?
Well, first, when I started to become more active in those groups, that was basically for the problems that I was going through. And it was for the problems that I needed solutions for the animals that were around me. But after a few years, this was maybe around 2023, where maybe not 2023, but in 2024, just last year. Because before that, from 2019 till 2020, till the early part of 2024, I did not have a job. So I was dependent on someone else to just give me the financial support to be doing this, whether it was from donations from someone else or asking money from my family members to be for just, for all the medical expenditures, all the veterinary expenses for the animals and stuff. But ever since I got my first job back in 2024, that is when I realized that I can give back. Instead of just asking from somebody else, I can actually give back. So that is when I started to get more involved. I People actually started to come to me to ask for donations, and that made me feel happy that I am in the position where I can help others. And even though the job did not go so well, because I lost my job back in August last year, and I'm still struggling with the salaries problem that is going on, because we still have not, the employees, me and the others, we still have not received our salaries of 2 months. But I am very grateful that I was in the position at that time where I was able to at least, because I was not giving too much money, I was not even earning that much money, but at least I was doing something. So from that point onwards, I started to know more and more people, and the network existed before then, but I think that now the network exists more because uh, over here, ever since we shifted to this area, some of the neighbors here are awesome. They're animal lovers too, so I have them in my network too. I have other people that we, connect with. So it's all for just one purpose, and it's all wonderful people serving and dedicating their life for one purpose, and that is animal rescue.
Mm, that's beautiful. And when you're sharing that, so you said that you have a dream. What's that dream? What do you see?
Well, I see a lot of things, but for me, I just want to have like a big area where I can have like a shelter for them, where they can just roam around, be happy, you know, not be facing any limitations from anyone, because I know that if you're living in an area, whether it's a residential area or an apartment scheme, there's bound to be people that are going to be having problems with the strays there, whether it's your pets or strays. There are people, if there are people there who don't like them, then there are going to be having problems. So my dream is that I want to have big spaces for them where nobody can disturb them, nobody disturbs me for caring for them, and we're all free. We're living, we're happy, we're safe, we're healthy. So that's my dream. And it's a dream that will continue to get bigger as this world grows more and more difficult for us. The dream gets bigger because the challenges, they don't limit us, they actually encourage us. And that's what I want to do. I want to be encouraged to do this. I don't want to give up. Like, I can give up on myself, I can give up on my dreams, what I want to do, what I really want to have. I can give them up because, I'm not selfish. I don't want to be selfish. But selflessness is something that I want to aspire towards. And animal rescue is one of those things that helps me to aspire to be selfless in my life. So this dream, it's in the early stages because nothing's manifested. Like, I don't want to be ungrateful when I say nothing's manifested, because to actually manifest means to actually have that shelter, which I don't have it. And here in Pakistan, the state of the animal shelters and everything, it's not that good because not a lot of people donate, and that's a problem. So I just want to be in the position where I don't have to ask for anybody from anyone for them. I want to be able to provide. Like, I want to be rich, so rich that I can provide easily. And even if people donate, that's never a problem. But I just don't want to be in the position where I am dependent upon them. And that's where I am right now, and that's where I want to be getting out of.
Mm, that's so noble, and the way that you're describing it, and I can sense the passion there. And when speaking of like the animals, is there an animal in particular that you want to start with, or like you have started with, or is it just in general, or maybe a species, or just wondering if there's something that's an animal that you're connected with more than more than others.
Well, I first started with cats, and because I was scared of dogs. But right now, outside our homes, there's a lot of stray dogs compared to cats. So I've thankfully gotten more comfortable with dogs now. I'm still scared of them, but it's like I'm more in that general perspective. Like, I want to help every animal. Like, I'm scared of insects, so I don't know what my thoughts are about helping insects. I know there's a lot of kind people who rescue insects, which is that's a very noble thing to do. I'm not in that space where I'm like rescuing insects, but rescuing animals without without any kind of selection, that is that's my goal, because I don't want to be specific. If there's any animal in need, just helping them out in any way I can, that brings me happiness and that just
Mhm.
fulfills me.
Yeah. And how are you spreading that message? How are you um and I loved what you said, like using the challenges to encourage you to do more, to find different alternatives. And I'm just curious, like what are you doing to spread that message, to really ignite that passion that you have, that might even help you to spread um the dream to different parts.
Well, on LinkedIn, I think I may have made a few posts for this to have everyone in my connection and following circle to know that where my passion exists. But other than that, all the Facebook groups I'm in and all the WhatsApp groups I'm in, people understand who I am and how passionate I am. Like, I've never told anyone about the measure of passion I have for this, because I believe it is something that you cannot tell anybody, or you cannot explain the level of passion you have, whether or not it's no matter how much work you've done for this. Because if it's something that you're doing out of your own good intention, then you don't need to explain to anybody. People understand. But unfortunately, not a lot of them do, which which can be a problem if they're working for the same solution. So my goal is just to make sure that people are united, they're on the same page, because there's a lot of division in these animal groups where people are constantly criticizing others for how they're doing it. But for me, the way I see it is that if somebody cares for an animal, if somebody has helpful intentions, and they're doing anything for them, whether or not somebody sees it as okay or not, I think that that becomes irrelevant. As long as they have the good intention, they have the good heart, and they're doing anything for them, that's perfect for me. So for me, I'm not about spreading that message of hope. I'm about uniting people for that message of hope, because we're so divided with our own with our own, I guess oh yeah, we are so divided based on our own distinct preferences that we really cannot stand for one opinion. And that opinion is just, we just do whatever we can to help out these voiceless creatures. So I just try my best to let others know that, hey, it's okay what they're doing. You don't have to be so angry at them. You don't have to criticize them. They just did what they could at that point, you know? And even if they didn't do that much that you were expecting them to, it's all right. It's fine, as long as they want the best for that animal, as long as they did to what they thought was the best for that animal, then I think that that's a blessing. So
Mhm.
we need to work to be united towards this blessing. We don't have to be divided and so particular about how we have to do things. We don't need to be particular.
Mhm.
It's about helping. It's not about being particular. So that's the message that I think I'm all about right now.
Thanks for sharing. And from what you've shared as well, in terms of wanting to be able to provide and to help and to support the animals, and also to create like a safe area or space where everyone is there and living and healthy and happy. And I'm sorry as well, like you mentioned that you haven't had the salary paid for the past few months, so I hope you do get that. And I'm curious as well, like how does that tie in with being a voiceover artist? How did you get into that?
Well, that is an amazing question, because I never for once thought that I'd be doing voiceovers. And I was like, when I first started to watch, like I'm a big anime fan, and I still watch cartoons, like any cartoon, me and my whole family. So for me, I always thought that maybe these voices are like computer generated, because they just don't sound like they're coming off from a human. But once I was, just introduced to the world of voiceovers back when I was a kid, I started to realize, hey, this is a lot of work, and this is real. This is coming from human, but there are elements of, the computer integration. It's not all the human element into it, which I can completely, understand. So this was back in 2023 on December. Just wanted to do something to get out of this whole financial rut that I was in. And I thought that, I don't have any skills. I don't know how to be a WordPress developer. I don't do content writing. I don't do blog posts. I don't know a thing about, you know, um, graphic designing or website building. I don't know any of that. I don't have any skills whatsoever. But what I do have is a voice. And I'm not really good at voiceovers because I'm still a beginner, like a really big amateur at it. And whenever I meet anybody who's professional at this, I just tell them, like, hey, I'm not a professional. And even though people tell me, if you have earned money, you are a professional, well, I was like, yeah, well, technically I'm not. So I just want to clarify that I have done this, I've got experience, but I just wanted to get out of this whole financial mess where I just didn't want to be dependent upon asking people for the donations, because I know that not a lot of people would want to be giving it out on regular intervals. And I just thought that, if there is something that I can do to get out of this whole mess, even if it's just voiceovers, let's try. So I went on Facebook, started to find these groups about freelancing here in Pakistan, and then I started to see all this freelancing work where people were requiring services of voiceovers. So I started to apply for them. And my goodness, the first responses were terrible because I got scammed the living heck out of it. And I still can't believe how bad the scamming situation here is in Pakistan regarding the freelancing work. But thankfully, about like a few weeks later, I got a job where they wanted me to do like mobile journalism. And if anybody doesn't know what mobile journalism is, it's basically you delivering news content via your phone, your mobile devices. So that's where I started to do the video presenting. And then I found out that they wanted the services of doing some audio work via voiceover. So, I was there. So I thought, hey, I can do this. And thankfully, it turned out to be better and better. Like it was a slow journey for me because I still don't have the right equipment to be, making those professional voiceovers that people really want. Whenever I would make those voiceovers, people were like, there's not a lot of voice or there's a lot of distortions, this or that. There was a lot of criticism that I had to face, and which I can completely understand because my work does not sound good at all. I'm like a huge critic of my work, and I'm not like someone who's like, oh, okay, I'm satisfied, this is good, leave me alone. I'm not that kind of a person. I know where someone wants the best out of me, and I fail to give the best. It's not something that is under my control. If it is under my control, I would do my best. But yeah, that journey of the voiceovers, it was very slow journey because as soon as the work would start to get more and more, I started to grow more and more and find out that hey, I could go into this one, I could go into this one. Like I could do commercials, I could do like cartoon dubbing, which I still have not done yet, or maybe audiobooks, which I still have not done yet. So there's just a lot of genres that you can explore and which I didn't know before. But I was like, everybody compliments me for having the voice, but I just feel like, you have to look beyond the voice. You have to look at the audio editing, the equipment handling, and all the other source, all just like the biggest headache is like the noise. If you can control that, you're just good. But there's just a lot of struggles that I'm still facing. I'm still in the process of figuring out whether I still want to do this or not. So, but it was a good change of things because after so many years, I finally got a job. I finally was in the position where I was earning and not per se dependent completely. Like I was still dependent because my salary was not good, but it was a good change of pace for me.
Wow. Yeah, I never knew how much goes into voice over artists and also like the concept of delivering these types of services, and sorry about like the scams as well. Like it's really horrible what some people might do to take advantage of the rest who are actually trying to provide a service genuinely and also with like their full heart. And it's really interesting to hear what you said when you mentioned that you haven't done voiceover for cartoons or anime, and you said yet, which is great because like it sounds like that's also gonna maybe be in the works, and that's something that's probably gonna be really exciting, considering that you also mentioned you love watching cartoons and you're a big anime fan. So I hope that that works out. And I hear you about like the challenges. Like there's so many criticisms, feedback, people just sharing their opinions, and it's true. We want to be the best versions of ourselves, and it sounds like you're finding a way to make the best version of yourself with the limited capacity that you can with whatever is available to you, and it's not easy. Like I think a lot of people might be going through certain similar challenges, but might not be comfortable enough to say them out loud. So you sharing that openly is amazing because like it's very courageous what you're saying, and you're really passionate about what you have. I'll just add one more thing, and then I'll ask you a bit more about that. But when we started, you said, "I'm not sure what I want to do," but it sounds like it's really clear what you want to do because, like, you're doing voiceover artist work and you're using your voice and enjoying it and getting paid, still dependent, but still getting paid. But also, you have that dream. So it sounds like there is something that's guiding you towards where you want to go.
Absolutely. And I really appreciate all your kind words, Hassan. Thank you so much. They really mean a lot to me. And yeah, like this whole journey, like I said, it's not linear. There's a lot of ups and downs in it. And I'm still facing a lot of confusion in life where I just don't know because I'm the kind of person who's like right now, I'm just very restless with everything that's going on. I cannot just stick to something that I feel like is working for me, but at the next day, I feel like it's not working for me. So it's like this lack of commitment or lack of dedication for something for my professional endeavors. I know that's not a good thing, but it's like a struggle. And it's a struggle that I try to overcome, or it's a struggle that I try to live with. But um, for someone like me who doesn't have any skills, and I know that not a lot of people here in Pakistan might be, facing entirely similar situations because I see a lot of people who have, one skill or the other. Like a lot of people are into content writing, graphic designing, or so and so. But with the world of voiceovers, it's getting more difficult and challenging because of this whole exploitation of AI. Because people
Mhm.
here are like, if you can get something done for free from AI, why would you go and hire voiceover artists for that? So that's the one of those challenges that you have to face. And that is something because of that I had lost, work from regarding freelancing work because people were like into the free stuff and not getting something from a human, which I can completely understand. And I'm not into judging people based on their own financial preferences, but these are just some of those challenges that you have to be aware about. And like a lot of professional voiceover artists have told me that it's not an easy industry. You have to be very determined. You have to be very knowledgeable about a lot of stuff. And, you should start. If you have the passion, you should definitely start. But just know that overnight success is not a thing. And
Mhm.
one professional voiceover artist told me that it might take you a minimum of 5 years to be an established person in this business. So it's not easy. And for me, I am craving for that easiness in life
Mm.
because I've just been through so much hardships and I've just been waiting for almost 7 years to be in the position where I can tell someone or I can tell myself like I'm doing it. I'm becoming independent, I'm financially secure now, but for over 7 years, that still has not happened. That is still a desire, but I'm not, extinguishing that desire. It still
Mhm.
lives in me and it's going to live with me because I have a bigger purpose. If I have to work for that, I need to be financially secure. I need to be having that independence where I don't have to go and beg to people. I'm not going to say use the word beg because it's not what I have done, but I don't want to be requesting people all the time and making them feel like I'm some sort of burden because some people would feel that way. We live in a harsh world where there's either people who are patient or people who are not. So I don't want to be on the receiving end of someone's impatience based on my own struggles. So I am continuously trying to look out for opportunities and continuously facing rejections. So, but yeah, it's not gonna stop me. That's for sure.
Absolutely. We all face so many rejections. Everyone does, from even like the biggest leaders of companies as well. I mean, I was watching a podcast where they said that um, I think it's a true story. I'm not sure, but what I heard is that the show Seinfeld, it's probably one of the largest, if not the best, selling series or production ever. And then I think the when Jerry Seinfeld came up with a different idea, he was also rejected. I mean, just to have that in mind is it's incredible because people might see things differently, but it doesn't stop us from believing our own dreams and following our paths to do that. And when you were sharing about like what you're doing and what you're experiencing, it reminded me of something that I think Einstein said. Um, where he said that if you tell a fish that it can't climb a tree, it will live the rest of its life thinking that it's stupid. But that's because it's in the wrong environment, and it didn't find the things that it can do, or it can't swim up a tree, or maybe the tree is not made out of water yet for it to be able to climb there. So I find a lot of inspiration in what you're saying, like finding the things that we don't want to be able to know what it is that we want. So it's kind of like the counterintuitive approach of finding that passion and purpose that you have and following through with that. And with that, like I'm wondering as well, like if you have any people that you look up to or aspire to be like, that really still continue to give you that drive and motivation to continue doing what you're doing. Who would those be, if there are any?
Well, my parents, because my parents are getting old and they're not as young and fresh as they used to be. So just looking at them, my dad's over 60 and my mom's over 50, but just seeing them have more energy than me, seeing them have more stamina than me, because I'm like an old soul. I still struggle with climbing the stairs, getting down the stairs. I'm always so tired, and my mom makes fun of me for being like an old person. So it's like it always gives me that, that amazement. Like age does not stop anybody. Like people like my parents, age does not stop them. Or if I look at other people outside my parents, it's like Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's like very old, but he's still doing it. He's still making movies. He's still, he still look after himself, doing all the self care that he needs, whether it's exercise, food for the brain or anything. And it's just like I take more inspiration from old people because just seeing how they still continue to live each day despite for what they have been through, because I know that as I'm an adult now, I'm about to turn 28, but every day when the whole day goes by, night comes, I'm just devastatedly destroyed. I'm spent, I'm exhausted, and I'm like, how can I, just how can I sleep through this night? How can I see the other day? How can I go through tomorrow by doing the same thing that I did today? So it's kind of like for me, I take the amazement and you know, the um, uh, the inspiration from old people, just looking
Mhm.
at them and constantly being amazed at how they're persevering, how, they're just going through life every single day, not even caring about the whole struggles. And it just, for me, I am always just looking out my every step. Like, what if I take the wrong step? What if I hurt myself? What if I do this? What if I do that? And it's all these questions, all these doubts and all this, this slowness within me that makes me feel like I'm an 80-year-old person, for which my mom always makes fun of me. So and I'm like, it's weird because I'm just 28. I'm about to be 28 and I'm doing things like I'm 80 years old, or maybe I'm 82 years old, but the old people look actually more younger than me, and it makes me feel like, wow, how can you even do this, or how can you keep on being this? While look at me, I'm just bored, I'm just tired. Like, I take that inspiration from them, or not just necessarily from the old people, from anybody who's living life, who's continuing to live life, who's continuing to see the bigger things in life and just carrying on no matter what the challenges are. That's where I take those inspirations. And it also hurts me at the same time to know how much of those limitations they have to go through, how much of those challenges that they have to face. It does hurt me because it does make me feel sad to watch my parents get old. And sometimes I get so sad that I just cry about it. But it's just something that's not under our control, but it's something that we can control by being the best version of ourselves and doing the things that keeps us alive and maintains our longevity. So that longevity factor is the inspiration.
I love that. Thanks for being vulnerable and sharing that with us as well. And I'm wondering, like, as you see inspiration from the people who are old, I'm wondering if you see yourself as an 80-year-old, wouldn't that be an inspiring person for you as well?
Oh, that is a great question. I had never thought about that. I could like if I was 82 years old, with the white hair and everything, I could take inspiration
Absolutely.
as long as I got a good voice.
That's great. Habib, thank you so much for being a guest on the podcast, and it's been delightful just listening to you sharing yourself vulnerably and being completely authentic and open about what it is that you're going through, and I'm sure that it's going to resonate with a lot of people, and I really sincerely hope that you find that spark and that motivation to keep going, because it seems like your dream is there and you want it to happen, and like anyone who has dreams, sometimes we're called crazy. But it's those people that make a difference. Um, Before we go into like the last part where I ask you like the question that is a tradition on the podcast, is there something else that you want to share with us that I might have not asked?
Well, first off, like, thank you so much for all the wonderful wishes and all for the wonderful words, Hassan. I really appreciate it. And you know what? I really don't know if there's something that's coming to my mind, but I just want to extend this invitation to everybody to let them know that my service as an emotional support provider is absolutely free. Like, I don't take money from anybody for that because I know how, because I struggle with mental health issues. I struggle with a lot of things you know, that are so tormenting in my life. So whenever I'm in need, I don't want to just go and, you know, give somebody money for that just to have the opportunity to talk. I want to do it with someone who is sincere, who's doing it out of sincerity, who's not expecting anything. So unfortunately, not a lot of people deliver that kind of service, especially in Pakistan. There's not any kind of a professional service in that regard. So what I'm doing is that I know how terrible somebody feels when they are so lonely and isolated from the things that they are going through. And just feeling that suffocation is so excruciating. And to get out of this suffocation, you need a good friend. You need a good listener. Whether it's a good friend or not, you just need a good listener to at least listen to what you're going through, listen to what your struggle is, to what your pain is. And it hurts to know that people are taking money for that kind of service. I was going to do that too. But then I realized that if I don't want anybody to charge me money for that kind of, for that kind of opportunity to just, you know, unburden myself, then I don't want to do the same thing to someone else. So my role as an emotional support provider is absolutely free. Anybody can come talk to me whenever they want to, however they're much comfortable with, about anything that they're comfortable to confide with me. And it's always going to be free. I don't care how much time it's going to take because I sometimes have like 5 hour long conversations with people, with one person, but I don't mind it because it is something that I feel like I should do. And I don't do it out for expecting someone to get better. I don't expect anything. I just want to be there for you. And that's what I expect you to just be here with me. Actually, I don't expect anything at all. I just expect myself to be there and to just be an active listener, not judge you, not criticize you in any way, because that is something that makes people afraid to share. And that is something that I don't ever want to do when you are going to share. So if it's free, it's good. Come get it.
Thank you so much. And that's very generous of you to extend that offer. And if anybody's listening and they're interested, then they'll definitely be able to know where to go to reach someone who provides that kind of emotional support. So thank you for sharing that message as well. And as as we have a tradition, we generally ask our guests a question at the end of the podcast, which is, what are some words that you would say to yourself to overcome the challenges that you've come across, or the obstacles, or um, a motto or a quote that you can continue to reflect upon that has helped you overcome some of those challenges? What would be some words that you can share with us that have helped you?
There are two positive aspirations that I currently live in. One of them has helped me to overcome my severe mental health issue because I deal with OCD. And this positive aspiration, anybody can use it. It is so empowering and it is so important to use. I don't care what you are, who you are, what you're going through, but you have to use this because this is something that has no repercussions. It's got no it's got no side effects. And this is the most important quote that I live with. And that is, I believe in myself. I
Mm,
believe in the things that I have done. I believe in the human that I am. I believe in the things that I can still do. And I believe in the best that I can be. The
yeah.
second aspiration is something that I just came up with recently, just yesterday, as I was commenting on a wonderful lady's post here on LinkedIn, and that is action taken are regrets forsaken. If you take action, you're not going to regret it for not doing that. And
Mm,
that is something that I have experienced in my life for myself. I don't have to think about doing it. I just have to do it, you know.
yeah.
And that's not about forcing yourself to do it. It's about being determined and just not thinking too much about it. Just go do it. Because if you
Mm,
don't do it, you're always going to regret that should I or should I have not. The doubts are going to live. Forsake those regrets. Take that action and be happy that at least you did it. So those are the two aspirations that I live with, and they're without consequence, without side effects. Don't worry about taking action without thinking about it. Just doing things can make those results get more beautiful.
No, those two are brilliant. They're so great, like believing in yourself and taking action, because we don't regret it if we take that action. Those are really powerful reminders as well. And thank you for sharing those with us. And it's been such a pleasure speaking with you, Habib. And thank you for taking the time. And thank you also for being patient as we came to the actual recording date of this episode. So with that, I'd like to just express my sincere gratitude for you sharing with us all that authentic self that you have, and the the things that you're going through and how you see the world. And I really hope everything that you aspire to become and achieve do transpire, and that you achieve that dream of yours that you have.
Well, you are very welcome, Hassan, and thank you so much for this opportunity, for this gift, and for all this meeting. Like, I feel so amazing right now. My heart literally feels fulfilled just sharing this and letting the world know everything about me, and just, this feels amazing. Like, this turned out to be better than I even imagined, and I'm just so grateful. I am, you know. I just feel like gratitude is something that we underappreciate in our lives, especially these days, because of how tough the whole situation has become with inflation and stuff. But gratitude helps. It does help a lot. So I am grateful to you, Hassan, for just having this opportunity, for extending this opportunity to me. And I just wanted to also say that you have done absolutely amazing last year with all the podcasts on LinkedIn, present potential podcast and everything. I'm just
Yeah.
always so proud of you for the things that you're continuously putting in so much effort and so much dedication and so much doing it with so much sincerity and kindness. It really, like, you are also an inspiration for me. So
Oh, thank
thank you for being you.
Thank you so much. It's very humble, very humbled to hear that, and I appreciate your words so much, Habib. Thank you so much.
You are very welcome, Hassan.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Present Potential. And as always, remember, today is the most important day of your life. Until next time. Thank you for watching and listening to Present Potential. If you found value in this episode, please give it a like, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe for more. Join the conversation in the comments and let us know your biggest takeaway. If you'd like to listen to other inspiring stories, check out our other episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Make sure to also follow us on Instagram under Present Potential Podcast, where you get to see behind the scenes and engage with us.